In the what
would have
area?
gotten a bigger scholarship for that.
Wait, in what
Should've-
area?
Yeah.
doesn't want to kill it.
Yes,
Hey,
that is the reason.
Inferior, can you repeat that again? What
I'm
state?
in the New York metropolitan area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
I don't doubt.
Mixed feelings.
I don't doubt that this exists. Like, I don't doubt it.
Yeah,
at
I don't
all.
doubt it, but it's just
But-
not the norm.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think I would be comfortable stating that the majority
Of
of like ethnic boxes on any kind of form,
Yeah.
black is one box. Whether African American or black, it's one box. That's it.
Let's keep it real. Our fucking ethnic grouping on our forums, they're all incorrect. They're all just fucking wrong. And we haven't revised shit.
They're outdated. Yeah.
Part of me doesn't
Yeah,
want to
no
kill
one
it.
cares to revise it. So, like, you know.
This is why people proudly and bravely start organizations like the Black History Month Advisory Board, so that they can voice these issues. So good to hear.
I feel like
Yeah,
so
but
you feel
people don't give a shit.
You feel
Like, keep it
powerful for
honest.
4 weeks out of the year. I don't know.
Hey, look,
Not
okay.
Not a great advisory
First of
board.
all,
not even a
this
full
is the
month.
shortest month in the year. There's
I
only
know,
28
right?
Yeah.
days,
It's the
okay?
short. Hey, you know what? Hey, just be happy we're giving y'all an extra day next year, all right?
Oh, I remember. Okay.
It's a leap year. Y'all get that one extra day. I don't want to hear any complaining.
We're starting to win the second half now. The Museum
I don't wanna
Advisory
hear
Board
no
needs to find a new thing to appropriate for March. Any ideas for what would be good to appropriate for like a March
I
sort
thought
of thing?
there was a. I feel like
Hey,
every
man.
month has a.
Hey, man, I'm gonna keep it real with you. Look, not trying to push this on another minority group, but stop stealing shit from black people. Start stealing shit from the Asians, man. I'm just saying.
Sorry,
Steal
do
shit
the
from them
Asians have some
instead.
kind of extra thing that occurs in March that I should be caring about?
Man, I don't know. but
March
God
Madness.
damn it.
When did
All I know is-
Hiroshima get
Oh,
Why
nuked?
does
I know,
everyone
Easter.
steal shit
Easter's in
from
March,
black
right?
people? Okay, look, everyone steals from black people, but with like Asians, it's like mostly other Asian people stealing from Asian people. So, like, you know what? Why don't we tell the white man go on
I
over there and
promise
steal
you,
some
the
shit from the
US
Asian
did a lot
people?
of stealing from Asian people.
Wait,
I
hold on,
promise.
What
hold on.
did
I
they
got a
steal?
question. All right. Who stole Hennessy from who? Filipinos or black people?
Ooh.
I don't know. Wait,
It occurred at the
Filipinos
same
used to
time.
drink
Is
Hennessy?
grape here? He has
Bro,
to defend
Filipinos
himself.
love Hennessy. What do you mean?
Yeah.
All of Southeast Asia, every single one I know, every party I go to, they got Hennessy. Every
They just
single
want to be
one.
black, bro, because they're
Who
dark
the
skinned
fuck she got
Asians.
Hennessy?
So they're like, you know what? We feel like the people who've been outcast from the rest of Asia because our skin is dark, so let's do what the black people do because they have been outcast from everywhere.
Well,
'cause their
to be
skin is
fair,
dark.
the Southeast Asians are like the black people of Asia. They are historically like.
Are they the black people or the Mexicans of
incredibly-
Asia?
I mean, maybe a little both. I don't know.
God
But
damn.
they're like historically super mistreated. Like it's fucked up.
Yeah.
Dark skinned Asians get a bad rap,
Yep.
man. I don't know
Yep.
why. I love me some dark skinned Asians. You know what I'm saying?
They don't love you
I
back.
said that. I'd be like,
They
oh,
do
you're
love me
racist.
back.
Why are you saying this in a public
I can
platform?
ask a bitch
stop
right
saying the
now.
N-word.
Why are you calling them a bitch?
Because it's a female that
Why- so
I
why don't you say
sometimes.
female?
That's it. Just a female.
It's
Why
a
you say Why
female.
would you call her a
I
bitch?
know many men who are
man.
bitches. They're free
Call
of
her
them
a
in this
bitch 'cause
talk.
we're
Now, I
trying to
do
breed
call
her.
men bitches as well. However,
No,
there's
you
a
don't.
threshold they have to meet for me to call them a bitch. If they're a woman, I might just say bitch
That
as in
kinda
referring
sounds
to
bitch
female.
made, not gonna lie.
That's
Yeah, some
disrespectful.
people bitch mad.
Bitch.
Yeah, I think that's debatable. Depends on the
We
understanding.
could have some kind of like mass debate in this group about it if you want.
Yeah, I think there's some girls who refer to dudes as N-words, and they don't mean like black dude. They just mean dude. You know? So when I say
I
B-word,
never
I
heard a
don't
woman who's
necessarily
like,
mean.
yeah, when I'm talking about guys, I just call them the N-word. I ain't never seen it.
Shit. I heard.
ain't
Hey,
seen that
hey,
before.
listen, brother.
If they're
Hey,
referring
hey,
to their,
hey,
if they're referring to
I'm
their
glad you two
man,
understand each
wait, hold
other.
on.
Yeah.
If they're referring to their man, then maybe. But like, no.
Their
And like
man.
calling
Wait,
women
what do
bitches
you
is just
mean?
Maybe.
and calling women bitches is just misogynistic.
So wait,
Man,
wait.
go
It's,
go
wait,
cry
wait.
about
It's,
it in your fucking Jinbei circle. Get
it's
out of
okay
Yeah,
if
go
a girl
jack off into
refers
sock
to
about
her
it and talk about how
man
great you
as
are
the
feminism.
N-word. She can refer to her man as the N-word, but I can't refer to my girl as my bitch. Like what?
here.
How
Yeah,
about
that
You
this?
don't
didn't
make
say
any
you
How
didn't
about
say
this?
that's your girl. You said that there's some bitches I could call. That's not the same thing.
I feel like
You're
it's
just-
Those
dependent
are my
entirely on how
girls.
the
What are you
person
talking
feels
about?
about it. No,
Yeah,
like if
like,
she's
I
okay
would
with
be
being
okay
referred
with
to as your
you calling
bitch,
me
then
the
that's
N-word.
cool. But if
Yep.
she's not, then it's not. Like,
And
it's
if
a
I'm
case by
okay
case
with her
basis.
calling me an N-word, then it's alright.
Yeah, exactly. It's a case
I'm
by
glad
case
you and me
basis.
agree on that. We are both okay with being called the N-word sometimes. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's what it is.
I got some Asian friends, right? And I literally heard my
Sorry
Asian
to hear that.
homegirl say
I let
something
my
to her
Asian friends call
boyfriend,
me
like,
the N-word.
nah, bro, she was
I
talking to
hear
her
them say
own
it, and I feel
guy.
so
I mean,
good.
like to Nurse's point or whatever the fuck, she was talking to her own guy, and he was Asian also, and she was calling him the N-word. Like, N-word, you ain't do this and you ain't do that, man. What the hell are you talking about? Some bitches do that.
Actually, no, I would look at that in confusion. If it was just like a pale-skinned Asian
You
guy,
wouldn't
it's
look
like,
at that shit
what
in
is up to you?
confusion.
She goes, it's my
God
N-word.
damn
It's like,
it,
well,
boy.
that's probably just being a
Logan,
bit weird.
Logan, come on, man. You wouldn't look at that confusion. You know what she'd be talking about and why she's saying it.
No, actually, if just a white woman with a white Asian guy, she's like, I call him my
Yo,
N-word. I'd be like, what do you?
she was
Why?
Asian and he was Asian.
You can be white and Asian.
Sure.
Yeah. So we have
Is
Even
two
then.
Asian
White
people.
They're like, listen, there's a lot of people in America that like they say that shit and it just means dude. But a lot of them they'll say that shit to each other. Sometimes they don't say it to black people, depending on the black person that they're around. Maybe they will. But other than that, yeah.
I know
The
what you
N-word
mean.
can mean
I have to
N-word
hold
could
back my
literally
language
like
so hard on the
replace
server. Yeah.
like most references to like.
Hey man, stop being triggered by words. Come on, you
I'm
gotta
not
be a little
No,
thicker
I ain't being
skin.
triggered by. Oh wait,
No,
I mean,
you
saying
Hey,
the
the
Logan
N-word.
N-word is
him.
bad.
I'm saying that the N-word can be used, and like I was just making a comment about the N-word. I'm saying that the N-word can be used in almost like every single context that the word like dude can be used in. Or
You
like
think
he.
bitch can't?
I'm not even talking about that.
Right, but you were talking about bitch earlier, and like it
Yeah, it's
seems
not
like you're
even like
making
what
a
I'm
case for
saying
the N
now.
word, but not the case for
to be
bitch.
fair, that's because
Yeah,
Nurse
to
is a
be fair.
bitch.
Well, it's also because the word bitch is used much more often in
I
a
wouldn't be
derogatory
calling my
term
friends
than the
my
N-word is
bitch.
amongst black people.
I would call
What?
Nurse a bitch.
I don't know
I
about that.
wouldn't be
Wait,
like, "What's up, bitch?"
what?
Like,
I would
Most
maybe
of
I
the
refer to a
time,
would.
group
whenever
of my
somebody is
friends
calling,
as my
Oh
bitches.
no.
I have done that
I
actually.
know
I
my
call
friends
them
would say
my
yeah, I mean, but
hoes,
within
my bottom
women they do
bitches,
that.
my
But
Women
like,
low-tiered
refer
whenever
to
like
a
a
group of their
man,
girls as
Oh,
bitches
whenever like a
sometimes.
woman, but whenever like a
I don't be
man, a lot of the time,
I
whenever a
call
man
them
is
my
calling a
Catholic
woman a
brethren.
bitch, he's
You
using
know?
it
Nurse,
derogatorily.
I call them my
nurse.
brothers in Christ.
When a man calls a girl a bitch,
Amen.
they're highly
Fuck off.
offended. What the fuck are you
Like,
talking about?
imagine
What?
if you say
With
something
dudes,
that's a
you hang
real
out with women?
bitch right there. Like, she a real ass bitch. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, there's definitely women that have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Sure, and there's
100%.
And you
dudes who
know
have
who
a problem
doesn't have
with
a
anyone
problem with
calling
that?
them N-word.
Real
Yeah, I know.
women.
Again,
Your
Yeah,
it's
point?
a
but
case by case basis. If the
I
Yeah.
think
person's
that
okay with
one
it,
word
it's
has a higher
cool. If they're
frequency of
not, then
calling
it's not.
offense than the other. I think that
Yeah.
like within the
Wait,
black
hold on. Did
community,
you just
like
say
That's like
one is
saying
more
a
offensive
problem.
than the other? I
I
don't
didn't
think
say
that
one is
shit
more
matters.
offensive. I'm saying that one has a higher chance of offending someone than the other. So like
How do
most
you
of the
wait?
time,
How do you
so most
calculate
of the
that?
time
Well,
you don't
bullshit.
calculate it. Just something that you have to do off like what we can observe. So like most of the time, black people calling each other the N word is just like it's just used as like another term for dude. A
Yeah,
lot of the
and
So,
time,
most of the
and
time
girls,
right?
when women
So
call other,
they
most
yeah.
use
of
the
the
word
time,
bitch.
whenever you're calling a woman a bitch, or not, I won't say most of the time, but a lot of time, whenever you're calling a woman a bitch, it's not in that case.
So I
No,
think
And a
the
lot of
intent,
women, and a lot of women, and this is evidenced
okay.
by the fact that a
it
lot of
So
depends.
women, like,
nurse.
Depends
Here's the
on the.
reality. The intent and the context matters. Go ahead,
Yep.
demonic. I'm sorry.
No, I was
Go
going to
ahead.
say that you know exactly what you're about to lay out. The
Yeah.
intent, the group set matters. So yes, a bunch of black people will call each other the N word, and it's totally fine. Like
So
a
like,
bunch of women, one second, like a bunch of women will call each other the B word or like bitch. I can't believe. Oh my god, this bitch,
yeah,
bitch. It's a very versatile word. The exact same as the N word. The exact same.
yeah.
There is no
Me as a
difference.
black
Now,
man,
now,
I
now,
can
now,
say,
me as a man, I'm not going to go to another woman and call her a bitch under any circumstances because
But
that's
what if
fucked up.
she is?
I
yeah.
mean,
Well,
Look, me as
no,
a
I'm
What
not
if
black
gonna
she a
dude,
really
put it this
judge
raggedy
way,
that.
nurse.
asshole?
So I don't
Nurse,
really
put it
know.
put
The
it this
dog
way,
literally
nurse.
just called his girl a bitch.
Nurse, I could even say something as a black
what,
person. I
nurse?
could be like, man, I fucking hate N words. And it could be after I saw somebody do some typically or stereotypically
Mm-hmm.
black shit. And I'd be like, I hate these motherfucking N words. That
Yep,
would
yep.
still be me not using it as in dudes, but referring into black people in a derogatory way. Like, it goes both ways. It matters about the
Yep.
intent and the context around it. I don't think people should be upset about the word itself being said. It's more about the meaning of the word and how they
I know, but
use
when
it.
you refer
That's
to women
common
that you have
sense.
like a sexual interaction with as like the bitch, it's a little
Yeah,
weird, dude.
But you're adding
I can
quality.
say bitches. I can
I'm
say
not saying that.
bitches. But I'm not gonna refer.
I
What?
mean,
You're not
you
saying what?
did, I'm not here to. I'm just saying that it's like just a derogatory term that you're using against women.
I don't know. I don't know how often you go
I
outside.
mean,
but
any of them can be derogatory. Any fucking word that you throw at someone with a given context can be derogatory.
Yeah, you
Duh.
Anything.
The word
What
could
a
be
useless
derogatory.
statement. Duh. But like,
Yeah, then why are you arguing like which word is
because
more
some words
harmful
are
than
more
the other?
derogatory than the others, and some words you
Goofy.
shouldn't say.
No,
Because they're
no,
super
there's not. Okay,
offensive.
listen. No,
Some words-
no, that's absolutely ridiculous. Some
I
words
don't-
are not more derogatory than others. It
Yes,
depends
there
if it's
are.
used.
If I
If
call
it's
you
used,
dumb,
okay. So
but if I call
hold
you
on, bro.
retarded,
Bro, the only thing that makes a word derogatory is if it's used in a derogatory manner. Okay.
Is
Either
it
all
the
slurs
N-word
are
proof
okay or
that
none of
the
them
N-
are.
Is it the N-word proof that it's like more worse than bitch because we can actually say the word?
Wait, are you saying that
No.
someone who is called an N-word is objectively worse than
So
someone
here's
who's
the
called a
thing.
bitch?
I don't think
No, I'm
when
saying
it.
that the N-word is worse than bitch because we can
So if
actually
we
say
agree,
bitch.
if
Why
we
is it
agree the
worse?
context and the way it's used matters as whether it's derogatory or not, I don't think we should move to the argument of which is more derogatory if we know the basis of it being derogatory is the context of how it's used.
okay, I think
Yeah,
that,
100%.
again,
That makes
I
sense.
think that one word has a higher propensity in certain contexts to be more offensive than the other,
I think
especially in the
the
context
N-word
onto
is
which it's used.
more so than bitch.
But just because,
So, like,
my God,
again, when you're
And that's
referring
because
to
you a
women,
bitch.
that's when you're referring to women as bitches,
Got him.
as opposed to referring to
Yo,
like
factual,
black men as, or like your father, like other black men as the N word. Again,
Some bitch
one is a
assness.
lot worse than the other.
well,
Most
if
of the
there's a
time.
black man that doesn't want to
Most-
be called the N word and I refer to him as like that, even if
they
it's in a
hate that.
term of endearment, he
Wait,
gonna
I
be
want
like,
you to
"Don't call
try
me
this.
that
I
shit."
want you to the
Yeah,
next
yeah,
time
don't
you call
call
B
my
is in
dad-
the
don't
room.
call
I
my
want you to
dad
call
the
her a
N-word,
real
I
ass
did.
bitch and tell me how she feels.
Yeah, well, I
Hey,
did go
you
call
know
my
what?
dad.
To keep it real with you, though, hold on, because you said B, and I know B would be the one that'd be triggered about this. I have said that to B
Yeah,
one
she has
before.
called
And
herself
she,
a boss bitch. Like,
hey,
That's
and
different.
she,
You calling
and
yourself
when I
a
said
boss
it to
bitch,
her,
me
what-
saying that, like, oh, a black dude is my N word versus a white dude saying that, like, I'm his N word, are very different things.
Guys, the real
Referring to
question is
yourself,
how long before Elon
reclaiming a
Musk's
slur for
N-word
yourself
passes on
True.
Twitter?
versus somebody else who's typically used a slur against you, using that slur or using that word, it's not the same thing. They're uncomparable.
Nurse, I think you're just triggered by
How about
words
this?
and
How
you're
about
yeah,
thinking
this?
too
how
deeply
much
of
for
it.
the black check mark on Twitter, dog?
Oh my
Don't be
God,
so offended by words. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me.
Unless they're really mean, and then I get upset.
And then I
Yeah.
crumble.
Okay.
What is going on in the background?
I don't know, man.
I
It's
think
Hey,
he was
Demonic,
hot
you're
micing
hot
or
mic.
he's
hot
having a
micing.
stroke.
You
I'm
watching
editing.
CSI Miami? Like, thank you.
Now I'm just saying, I love B. Okay,
Yeah, go on. I'm listening.
Listen, I called a
B
woman one
knows
day.
that if I call
Go
her a
ahead.
bitch, it's because it's love in my heart, and I'm saying she's the baddest ass bitch that's ever in the universe. Okay,
Loken,
She
I
knows
called.
She
Hey,
refers to
Loken,
herself as Thunder Cunt. All right, I
Loken.
don't think
That
she's.
don't
I think she'll
matter,
be all
bro.
right.
Hey,
I refer to
Loken.
myself as a real ass N word all the time. But if a white person says that to me, it's not the same thing.
Hey,
I
Loken.
call her
It's
Thunder
really,
Cunt.
hey, to
True.
keep it real with
That's
you,
a
hold on,
personal
pause.
thing to
That's not
you. That's
necessarily
not.
true. It depends on the context
Bro,
and
if
how
my
that white
white
person
boy,
is
bro, if
saying
my
it.
white boy
No.
says, my
Yes,
white boy
it
says, "Nurse,
does.
you the realest N word I know."
Yes, it does.
That is not. That is so
Yeah,
much
that's a
like
Wait,
personal
hold
thing
on.
to
linguistic
you,
Pause,
though.
pause,
That's-
than like
that's-
Okay. And that's what I'm saying. You're not even looking at the context. We already agreed the context and the way they use it matters, right? If a white dude say you the realest N-word I know and you get mad just because he's white saying the N-word and you ain't looking at the context of why he's saying you the realest N-word, then that's your fault for being offended.
Yeah,
To keep
that's
it real with you.
your
For being
own
a little
personal
bitch.
boundary
That's
that
the
you've
whole
I
bitch.
set,
think
which
that
is
yeah,
fine,
I
but you
think that,
can't
like, the
apply that to
average-
Oh,
others.
hey,
No, I'm
hey,
sorry. I think
nurse,
that the
nurse,
average
just admit you
position
got
in
different.
society. I think that average position in society for like white folks is that like
Okay,
you shouldn't
so
refer to
nurse,
black. You
nurse.
shouldn't refer. I'm in the middle of my fucking sentence, retard.
I know, I got you, bro.
So like
Oh, don't
Huncho,
call him
bro,
retard.
no.
Do you know how offensive that
No,
word
and it's
is?
like
Do
furthermore,
you
it's
know
like
how
it's
many
the average
people
position
Yo,
in
personally?
Logan,
How many
society.
actually
people?
shut
The
up.
average
Actually.
position in society for white people is to not call black people, even if they
So
use
let me
phrase the N-word.
keep it
I
real
take
with
it
you.
as a sign of respect. If you know that
Okay.
this is like, if we haven't spoken out otherwise, you call me the N-word. That's a sign of disrespect. Period.
Hey, okay,
Clearly,
so I keep it real with you, bro. as a black man, if somebody said that shit to me, I'd be looking like, why did they say that? The fact that you don't even look at the context when we agreed the context matters and how they're using the word, you might be just a little racist. Because if they're just
Yeah,
white
true.
and say that, then maybe because
True.
you're looking at them for their race and you're like, a white boy said the N word. I'm not even going to wonder why he said I'm the realest N word. It's just that he's white and said the N word.
Okay,
You
so
a little
like
racist,
if my white boy says you the realest N-word I know versus my white boy says I hate N-words,
My white boy.
obviously one is gonna be a lot. I'm gonna just it's not the same thing, obviously, but just like as a default, like it's like most of the time, unless like we spoke on it previously, using this word is like
listen,
mad
bro.
disrespectful because you understand as like a white person, it's not your word to say. If you say that like knowing that it's, like that's how like most black people feel, I take
What
that
are you
as
gonna say
disrespect.
about white people that were raised around black people that just talk like that? Because in my
that's me.
experience, a lot of white black folks that have that white boy that's raised in the same area as them, that's kind of raised in the hood or whatever. They don't even have to go that deep. If they're using it correctly, a lot of black folks won't even bat an eye. They be like, "Oh yeah, man, he said I'm a real ass N-word. I know exactly what he's talking
But
about."
that's
You
because
trying to
other
say,
people.
Yeah, because the
right,
rules
right,
are
no,
not
hold
gonna.
on,
Yeah, because the rules are different for white boys like that.
pause. But what you're trying to say is it doesn't matter if you understand what he's saying or what he means by it.
I
You're
didn't.
just going to no, listen, you did say that you're going to ignore the context just because he's
No,
white
I
saying
didn't. I
that.
said the opposite. I said that if my white boy says it, like, oh, see, or like nurse is the realest and what I know. Okay, like that's one thing. But I just said this like 30 seconds ago. But if my white boy says, man, like it says in a different kind of way where it's like derogatory, then it's a completely other different problem. I literally just
hold
said
on,
that.
I just
Obviously,
wanna-
the context does matter, and the context also matters. Where it's like if you grew up saying this word, okay, I understand how that might be part of your vocabulary.
How would you
And
know
to a
that
certain
when you
extent, I can
speak to
look past
someone?
that.
You're
But
just
if
going to
like if
check
you
them
just
off
like
for their skin color.
but no,
That's what
I'm
you
not. You're
doing.
not even listening to the words I'm saying.
I
I'm literally
am, but you're saying
I'm
if they
saying that
grew up
like
like that, but that's the
I'm
information you
literally in
won't
the
be
middle
able
of
to
my
get from
fucking
them.
sentence, you absolute moron retard.
Your
I'm in the middle of
sentences
my
are
sentence
dumb.
saying that
And
like
you just want
if
to
my
try to
white boy,
justify. You just want to try to
I'm literally
justify being
saying that
mad
if my
about
white
words.
boy, I'm saying that my white boy who grew up in this place said the
Wait,
N
you're
word,
a white boy.
I'll
Do
probably
you
look
own
past
him?
it. I
Damn.
literally just said that. I don't know if you're too stupid to know English language. Jibba Power France I can
Bro,
speak
you've
French if you
been
want,
stuttering
retard.
on half
But
of
I'm
your words.
saying,
Can't even
bro,
formulate a
All right,
bro,
sentence.
but
a
I'm
minute.
saying,
Can I
I'm
get
literally
in?
Hold
saying,
on.
it
Reset.
obviously depends
This
your
is
where you
about
come
calling me
from.
a
So when a
bitch.
white boy from
You're
a certain
chat shit
place
about
says
that.
it,
Let me in.
All right, hold
Yeah,
on.
God
just like
Shit
damn,
about
look,
that.
nurse,
I think
nurse,
you
you
guys
just
need to
word
pump the
vomited a
brakes.
fucking 50
I'm
mile
sorry,
per
I
hour
fucking hate
statement
your
at me.
retarded ass voice so fucking much, bro.
No,
Okay.
just
I
to be
actually hate
to
your
be clear,
retarded
like
ass
no, I
voice.
would never
I
be that
actually hate
insensitive
your
if you
fucking
called me a
voice,
bitch.
bro.
There are
I
certain
don't.
times whenever I think bitch is one of those words where whenever someone's saying, yeah, you're a real bitch, or no, don't stop being so bitchy, or other things,
Hey,
or whenever
hey,
someone decides to go on a
Wait,
rant and goes
peacekeeper.
like, no, then you give that bitch too much of a chance. And it's like,
you know
well,
what's
now
funny,
you're using
B?
it as a slur. Like now
Before
it's
you came in here, B, he literally said, "Why don't you ask B if she would like it?" B, you just literally explained what I
Yeah.
was talking about.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's a
Exactly.
lot of
Yeah.
girls that
Yo,
so in
nurse,
my life, it's a
nurse,
lot
you
of
look
girls that I
stupid
know
as
that I'm
fuck.
friends with. They're not being
You
called
look
a bitch.
stupid as fuck.
Period.
Yeah, I mean, if someone was referring to me and I heard
Again,
them
it's a
talking about me
personal
4 or
thing.
5 times
Yes.
and they kept saying, well, yeah, this bitch did that, like, then I'm going to start saying, hey, could
Nurse,
you
you
maybe
said you're
not?
wrong, bro.
I'm
Like,
literally
no.
right here.
Yeah,
You can use the proper pronoun.
but if I was
Exactly.
like, hey, but
In
if I was
general,
like
though,
B,
like,
a
no, I
real
would
ass.
Oh,
never,
God.
ever.
But B, if I was you and you said some shit, you in here talking or whatever, and I'd be like, yeah, that's what's up. Be a real ass bitch. You wouldn't even see it the same way, would you?
I wouldn't even
You
blink. No,
Yeah,
absolutely
exactly.
nah,
not.
You
And
not
again,
100%.
I
But there's a
decided,
lot of
I
females.
tried to do a
I
long
don't think
time
that's
ago
how a
Nah,
lot
where
of
nurse,
females
no
bro.
do
matter
it.
how
A
ugly a
lot
A lot
of
of
word
girls
is,
don't
I
want to
don't
be
ever want
referred
to
to
give
that
someone
term,
the
and that's
power to
fine.
say something
Stop it,
that's going to
dog.
make me like freak out. I don't ever want to give someone that power. So even with cunt or other things, as distasteful
Yeah.
as it is, and it really is distasteful, I refuse to give someone that much power. I won't
That's
do it.
so. Hey, there was one girl I knew that I called. She did something that was kind of shitty, or whatever. It was petty, not shitty. But I was like, man, that's you kind of a bitch for that. She's like, I'm not a bitch. I'm the bitch. I was like, oh shit, okay. I was like, okay, baby. See, not trying
Nurse,
to.
can I ask you a
100%.
question?
That
Yeah.
She said, I'm the bitch.
So,
I ain't gonna lie. That kind of turned me on a little bit because I was like, damn.
Like I need to know you to know like what the context is coming from, and obviously like tone, voice, our prior
Yeah.
relationships are all going to mean certain and different things.
Oh,
Yeah,
did he
it's
run
super
out of here?
duper.
No, he
It's
didn't. He.
super duper subjective because of
Well,
the
are
fact
you
that
saying Nurse is
we
a
be
man
fine
who's
with it.
running? Come on.
So here's the thing, it is
Running,
super
running,
subjective,
dun,
but I
running.
think anyone with a decent amount of social skills, like it's not hard to pick up on context clues. When people use certain words and
Bro,
shit,
I
the
never said
context.
the. Bro, I never said the
I didn't accuse
opposite.
you of
I
that.
never said the opposite. The entire conversation, I said it depends the context in which folks are saying it. But first
You
of all,
didn't say that.
yes,
I
I
said
did.
it
You
first and then you
retard. Oh my
agreed,
god,
bro.
bro. Take the
I said
fucking
it
K out
first
of
and
your
then you
fucking
God.
ears. You
agreed.
dumb as shit. Oh my god, bro.
Bro, I even
You gotta
nailed
be
you on the
goddamn
point.
ashamed of yourself. You
Bro,
dumb
I
as fuck.
even,
Whole
bro, I
conversation, I
even,
said it
alright,
depends on
alright.
the
Bro,
No,
context
you
matters,
didn't.
but it's not
bro
a
got
problem.
nerfed
No,
like
Certain
you
folks
frogs.
don't want to
didn't.
be
You
referred to
know you
that.
didn't,
Period.
bro.
Nurse
You
got
Man,
get
nerfed like
Kevin,
frogs.
inclusive
you
of
Okay,
scrambling.
even
hit him.
Jesus, he's
Okay.
returned
So,
to us.
Let
Look
him
at him.
talk.
nurse,
You
nurse.
Like, bro, it's
just
just
Let them do it.
pathetic. Like, you
Okay, so
sad. You
here's the
sorry.
issue, nurse. I got you to a point where we agreed the context mattered, but you still said if a white boy said that to you, you would still get mad
He's a
regardless of
I
the
didn't say
context.
that. I said that if you were talking over me with your retarded ass. I
I
literally
was
said that.
listening to you.
I literally said with your retarded ass. I literally said that if my white boy from a certain place said these words, it's not. I probably would be able to look
You
past. I
said
probably
that
would look past it.
after I
Hold on.
I literally
crucified you
said
on
that.
that
I literally
point.
said that while you were sparking on the fucking mic, dipshit. I
Yo,
literally said
nurse,
that.
relax,
I'm
bro.
not
Like,
arguing
Jesus
with it.
Christ, relax.
You got
easy
halfway in
too.
your mouth, bro. What do you
Relax,
mean?
nurse. Jesus Christ, you're so
Hold
triggered.
on, nurse. How about this, right? We'll give you like a hypothetical, okay? Me, as a white man, I'm not going to tell you anything more about how I grew up or whatever. If I turn around and I end up saying the N-word accidentally in this VC, would you flip out or would you be okay with it?
Accidentally?
Yeah,
Well,
like
you,
what's the
have,
Like,
you don't know
make
it's
a slip?
accidental.
No, I
You just
mean,
hear me in a statement like I'm talking. I'm like, yo, N-word's
What
crazy.
does that mean?
I say some shit like that.
I mean,
You
So,
gonna
like,
blink
you're
your eye
singing
off?
a Kendrick Lamar
I mean,
song.
I feel like a little
I don't
type
think he
of
would do
way about
anything,
it, but I
honestly.
wouldn't really like.
Why?
Wouldn't that be big of a deal? It's just like it's like a little awkward just to like let it slip like that. But I wouldn't really feel any like real
well,
big type of way
okay.
about it.
Well, hold on.
Well,
Here's
then
the
why
thing.
not?
Wait. I have a question,
What?
just real quick, just for clarification. I have a question. So wait, I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, accidentally would mean that you use it regularly and you're not supposed to use it right now, so it slips out. But
That,
like,
yeah,
like, how do you
that
accidentally
is what I
use a
meant.
word
Yeah.
that?
Okay, so Oberon, I don't think that part matters, though. I do see what you're saying,
Okay,
but when
okay.
we talk about if it's somebody who comes from a certain understanding or background that they could say it, the fact is on the internet, you don't have any of the information. So if you hear someone slip it out and then it feels weird, it's also like, well, why does it feel weird? This person could come from that very same background that you're talking about where it would be acceptable for. So why are you trying to judge them with that over the internet when you don't know shit about them?
Okay, like I said I'm not gonna really feel too big of a type of way about it because I don't really know Logan
Why
like
would
that.
you
So I'm not
feel a
gonna.
way about it at all? Is what I'm
I'm
Yeah,
asking.
exactly.
because that shit. Because I feel like if you a
Exactly.
white person, like, cause it just
Actually,
feel
can I?
uncomfortable for like
Bro, just
white people
stop.
to
Just
say
give
that
up.
word. If I no,
Just
it's
give
not
up.
that.
Oh
I
wait,
didn't
okay.
know
I,
he
I,
was
I,
white.
I don't. I
I'm not
don't
gonna
want to.
flip out.
Nurse,
Like I
just
said,
give
like
up.
I
That's
said,
real
I'm not
shit.
gonna flip out on them. I'm
We
not
can.
gonna go
Nurse, I
stone on them.
appreciate you. Like, nurse,
We
I
can move on
appreciate
to
you
something
trying
else.
to
And
like
just
make an example. And I'm sorry if I didn't come in here and agree with you or like make a good point for you. But you've been trying to kind of, I don't want to say pick a fight, but you've been really feisty all morning. Are you all right? Like,
I'm
what's
just.
going on?
but what?
She said you're on your period, bro, and you act
She
like a little
said
bitch
you're
Oh
right
on
my
now.
your
So I
god.
gotta believe
period.
you.
Actually,
I'm
I
being
kind
I have
of want
fun with
to.
that. I'm just
I
really
kind
trying
of
to
want
figure
to.
out what the fuck is going on.
Let him answer the
I'm
question.
having a like I'm having the time of my life. No one's home right now.
Bro, the other day you literally was talking about you wanted to self-delete, man. I'm not. I don't know if you having the time of your life.
When did
I
I
might
say
need to.
this?
Wait, is this how he's trying to do
Bro,
it? He's
he
trying to
said
like get one of
that
us so
shit
mad we commit a
last
crime.
night,
That's
bro.
really weird for you to bring up. That's really weird to bring up. Like
Because it was
that'd be
something like this where
mad
you said
weird to.
some
That's
stupid.
mad
Nah,
weird
bro.
to bring up. That's
How?
I
mad
Why?
really
weird.
wanted
Why?
to comment.
He shared something mad personal. You just now
That's weird as
launched the
fuck,
web.
bro.
I don't know, family.
You're
If it's
not
okay,
trustworthy.
I would like to. I kind of want to comment on the. I kind of understand where Nurse is coming from a little bit, and in that opinion, in the sense of like, I don't know if it's analogous like completely, but I kind of not struggle with that, but I've had sort of like mixed feelings on how I should feel about like the F slur being
Mhm.
used like in different online sort of like conversations and stuff. I have really good friends like on the server and other servers that are part of the LGBT community, and in their circle, like IRL, like it's like norm to like they do use that, comfortably and stuff. And I know that people do that. I personally like just because I don't have like a great history with the usage of that word in any sort of like friendly way. It was always the only time I've ever heard it was in extremely violent situations for me. And so like I don't expect. That's the thing, is like I can understand sort of like that, where I don't want to like police other people, especially people from my community, like using that word or doing whatever they want with that word. Like I don't put that much like importance into words, but I also like don't know how to feel about it myself. Like, do I, I don't like it, but I'm not going to tell other people not to use it. I don't know. I understand the dilemma is all I'm saying.
No, I understand his dilemma too. It's just the logic behind it. That shit's not very
Don't make
consistent.
Well, it's
Yeah.
not consistent.
I think what you have to consider, like especially when we're online, there's a lot of people here, anyone here, are gonna do and say whatever they want to, even when they know it's inappropriate. They're gonna be using
Yes.
words that they're normally in those
Oh,
social groups.
cunt.
It's not okay for them to use, but they're using here for any reason
But
that they
that's why
want.
we have the rules
And
where it's banned to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about this server in particular. I'm just saying that like when you encounter people on the internet and they're gonna be dropping these like words, like
Yeah.
I can understand where he's coming from. That's like, oh, okay, then I'll keep that in mind in the back of my mind that like you're someone who like regularly loves to drop that type of thing.
Right. But with the line being so arbitrary and you not knowing the individuals you're speaking to online, I think it's kind of weird to check people online for using certain
I
words.
never said a
Now, I'm not saying that you're saying that, but it seems like it was, I would say posturing kind of. Like when you say, oh, they said that, that's kind of weird. Like it's potentially getting ready to maybe check them on some shit, or you're just thinking about it. I'm saying you don't even need to go that route. You don't even need to really give a fuck. Like you can tell, but the intent matters so much more. Because if you're trying to like get actual racism or actual misogyny or some shit like that, you gotta weed people out from the ones who actually is just like being misogynistic or
Rather than
racist.
trying to pick every fight. No, I hear you, Cal.
Yeah.
What up? No, real shit, real shit.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I never. None of y'all saying like really disagrees with what I was saying. Like, I'm just saying that like it's the context matters. Folks who saying it matters, and they're like
No,
words
I
like
think people
bitch.
disagree with your lack of
You,
consistency. That's the
yeah,
problem.
like yeah, we don't disagree with what you're saying necessarily. It's just the way you logically get to the conclusions is
Yeah,
kind
the
of like
process is like
that's
weird.
yeah.
It's almost as if like your process is rooted in like a social justice warrior type of way, but not really grounded in any sort of way that is logical and based on reality.
Yeah.
Like what is the actual context of what this individual is trying to say?
Yeah.
I
Would
said
you
like
all
10
would you
times in a
one
row that
second,
like if
just
my
one
white
second,
boy,
bro. I
I care
would you
deeply
go
about
off
like the reason why like a white boy would be saying it.
would you go off the Richter scale if you're laying in bed with a white girl and you got y'all and like that you're seeing and like she's trying to get through a certain conversation and she's like, yeah, well, it's like the word like the N word, or she actually says it. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you gonna go fly off the handle and go all fucking crazy? When she's actually trying to have like an
I mean,
educational
most people
discussion,
don't,
or
right?
like surrounding
Ma-
the word. It's like
Majority of the
No,
let's
time,
be
bro.
people
realistic.
don't.
I advocate for
And
the N word to be
and
used in school. Like,
a lot
I
of what
don't.
and a lot of what O was saying, it's like this idea of like of like what you're comfortable with in your community and like kind of understanding where people are coming from, but also like just purely like out of compassion, but also like understanding like the reality of the situation. And the reality is a lot of these arguments and issues stem and get out of control and amplified on the internet, but they really don't exist out there in the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the F slur, like you said, like a lot of people that he knows out in IRL, they fucking use the F slur a lot. Now on the internet, you would go on Twitter and see like fucking Twitter loggers going on and people going off back a lot of trans issues. Like you'll hear people on the internet going fucking off, and they're like there's small minority that are representing all of these people that aren't so internet minded. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't know. You kind of have to be based on reality and IRL rather than like living your life as if everything on the internet is real, because it's not. It's all amplified.
I don't know.
Imagine
I
saying
agree.
that
I think that was
we're
very
all
well
terminally
said.
online without saying we're all terminally online.
True.
I try to set a high bar before I start policing other people's language. Like I don't
Same.
think that like you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Keep going,
Yeah.
Oberon.
Yeah.
Speaking
So
them
Cook.
like
facts, man.
I'm not
Yeah.
trying to say nurse that you have or are doing that. I'm not accusing you. I'm just saying that like I do personally, that's what it's like. I recognize how that word affects me, I recognize, but I'm not, or whatever. And I take that, I seriously. But I don't, before I go out and start like policing other people's speech, and taking into account context and intent and, like what have you, it's still always probably going to be a pretty high bar for me before I start saying like, hey, you shouldn't say that
Yeah,
or
I
shouldn't
feel
do
like
this because
but I feel like we already police people. Like we certainly police white people to not be saying the N-word, and that's not just here on the server. We do that in IRL.
yeah.
I'm
And
pretty
we
Just
sure
shouldn't
like to
that.
do
keep
that.
it
Trying to
Because
look
real,
I've been
behind
saying
bars.
that
We
white
just
people
which
for
try
a
to
even
very
though,
say
long
this is
time
a
as
rule
a
we
well, that's
strongly
what I'm saying is that
dehumanizing
would be
one
the
to
high.
refer to like product. So it's not something that I think we should ever really revert back to because,
Right.
again, it was only used in a negative, harmful sense by white people.
Yeah.
That's what yeah, same thing with the F slurs. Like I would have a very, very different, that is where my bar would be, is if like somebody who's not part of the community, somebody who is like, I don't know, or not, I don't know, I'm sorry, but like somebody who, yeah, I don't know, yeah, that is like just using it flippantly, like it's like there isn't a history behind it, like they have it. That's where I would be like, I'd at least clown a little bit. I'd be like, who are you? Aren't you like,
That's why
what are
I really
you?
Well,
enjoy
no,
saying something like, what an ugly thing you just said. Because
Yeah,
I'm
there
not
you
telling you not to
Yeah.
say it. I am telling you that I really disapprove of it. But it is an ugly thing. And you should know I see you. Like, what an ugly thing you've just stated.
Yeah.
well said, B. Very
right,
well.
right, right. Well said. Yeah. Oh,
I'm
yeah.
gonna write that down in my mind. I'm
That
gonna
was
use
dope.
that.
And again, I don't know that there's ever, like, it makes me, listen, whenever I would work at the PD office, it made me like, my clients would laugh because they'd say, how long do you think it's going to take before we just make her so uncomfortable with how many times we say the N word, like back and forth, just talking about each other, talking about their friends, talking about their family, like, and I'm just sitting there, my ears are or my shoulders are all the way up to my ears, like, please, dear God, please, I shouldn't be listening to all of this. Oh my God, I hate that word. It didn't take very long, but again, what the fuck am I gonna say? No, you can't. You should not and cannot use the word that, like, or reclaim a word that has been utilized to dehumanize you for years. Fuck no, I'm not that arrogant or that
That,
stupid.
yeah, it's actually a really cringe argument to uphold. Like, why can't we say the N word? It's like, are you fucking serious? Like if
I'm
you're
gonna keep
actually
it real with you.
if you're well studied and well learned on American history, and you're like a white person fighting for the reason why you don't understand that level of gatekeeping, something is fucking wrong with you. Seriously.
Welcome to DGG, where people
Dead
will
ass.
actually like, hey,
I
listen,
know, I
Uh-uh.
know.
engage in the argument.
Wait,
Let
demonic,
me.
I didn't hear what you just said. What are you saying? There's something wrong with me, or like something wrong in general
No,
with
I
other
don't.
people?
I don't think that was
That
direct.
too. No. You're a queen. What I was saying is, I was saying that anyone who tries to uphold this argument that I should be able to say the N word if you can, like anybody that's upset with that level of gatekeeping on a word that was
Right.
reclaimed, understanding the full context of American history. Now I can understand maybe if like a European who's not well versed on our history is like kind of going off on it, but once they're explained,
Sure.
or like once we explain to them, I think that they should be able to grasp that. Anyone who is standing on 10 toes trying to fight that fight is a piece of shit and kind of socially inept.
That's the word
Yeah.
reclaim. What do you mean by reclaim?
That wasn't
Taking it back.
directed at you, but yeah, that was that
Yeah.
was
Oh no,
building off
thank
of
you.
what you
I
were
was
saying.
I was listening to that part and I like
How
it
is
was
the
just
word
cutting in and
reclaim?
out. That's why I was like, wait a
So,
minute.
so
I
a lot
didn't
of
know that
times,
I did
whenever
like
people who are like,
no. I mean, the minute that I hear anyone try to make that argument of, well, they can say it, we can say it. No, bitch, because they didn't get to hit us back when we hit them. So it's not necessarily a one-for-one type deal that you're trying to make it sound like. It never
Yeah.
has been. And your inability to read between the lines and appreciate that context is a problem for you, not for me.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
And
like
like
I mean,
and like friend, I'm sorry, I didn't
see.
see your name, but like you just said as well. Like I want to, yeah. Like if and if and if you just want to be a douche, then like fine, be a douche. Like I don't think, but
Yeah.
like yeah, exactly. Very very true.
how is the word reclaimed? What do you
How
mean
was it
by reclaim?
reclaimed? Well,
Yes.
let's say that
Reclaimed
the
as in
word.
people are using it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, demonic.
No,
I
I'm
didn't mean
saying
to do
like
that.
so the word had like a context that was used during slavery. Immigrant person. It had a very specific meaning. So the reclaiming would be repurposing that word and then using it as a term of endearment or just making it a really flexible use that you can use in your everyday, or a really flexible word that you can use in your everyday language.
Okay, so if you
So
say
I've heard
it's
the
like hold up,
So that's reclaiming it.
if you said it has like a different definition, why can't anyone just use it in the same way that anyone else is using it?
Well, we already agreed
if
the
I can.
context and everything around it does
No,
matter. So
the
some people
context be
can.
damned. I don't care
In
about
fact,
that either.
no. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, in
Yeah.
fact, with
See,
knowing that shit, there's some white people who can say the N word and people won't bat an eye.
1 second.
For sure, but those would be edge cases.
So 1 second.
Or
So even
well, I
coming at
won't
it,
even say that. Oh, sorry.
so even coming at it with that combative energy shows you that you don't even have the right to use it.
Who
It
doesn't have the
shows
right to use it?
well, you approaching this like, well, if it's been reclaimed, then why can't I use it? Isn't it the same thing? Well, that energy shows you that you don't understand it fully enough to be able to use it in a way
Well,
where
and
the
it's
original context has been alleviated
So
completely.
And let me
the
just say
fact
this
that
real
you're
quick, and then
saying that
I'll
and you're
shut the
just
fuck up.
using my hold up. The fact that you're saying it and you don't even know that I'm fucking black and I use it all the time, like it
so
doesn't
here's
matter.
the thing,
I'm
bro.
saying that I'm saying that anyone can use the fucking word. If everyone's gonna be, if a music artist is gonna be fucking getting money off of it and using
Okay.
white audiences,
So here's
using
the
white
thing, man.
audiences to get fucking money
No,
off of the shit,
okay.
then
No,
why
no, no,
can't
no, no, no,
anybody
no.
use it?
Hold on,
If I could
hold
just say
on.
one.
Let me hop in here real quick.
Okay,
So like
I'll
the
go after
thing
you.
with
Go
it
ahead.
being reclaimed is not necessarily that no one can say it. It's more so about the people that is being reclaimed from can't say it. I don't know if you've ever seen, but like I think it's more acceptable to black people to see another minority
Puerto
say the N
Ricans,
word before
Dominicans.
before a white person says it. But even then there's still fringe cases where white people could say it depending on where they grew up, their social understanding, blah blah blah, all of that shit. So when you're
Right.
reclaiming it, it's more it is gatekeeping. It's gatekeeping the people who used it originally derogatory and saying, hey, most of y'all can't say this, but we still do allow some people to say it depending, like if they grew up with black people or some shit and they grew
And
up
to
with
back
us
up,
saying it.
and to back up my previous statement with what Cal was saying, even someone as prolific in hip hop as Eminem, who would probably get a pass for saying the word, he understands the culture enough to know it's better to not say it.
Yeah.
because
But
he
I'm
Right,
not
doesn't
and
gonna.
have
that's
that.
and on top of that,
He
just real
has
quick, and,
that,
and then
but
I'll shut up. I just wanted to interject real quick with the fucking autism mind, and then I'll shut up. But like, just semantically, I want to, like, I think we should all be on the same page, right? That like, yeah, because I've heard this before, where it's like it's not reclaiming because it wasn't claimed to be, but I think we all get that, right? That it's like because it was so powerfully a term for a long time historically with a group of people against another group of people, the reclaiming isn't that like say it needs to, that it was claimed first or whatever, which I guess
Yeah.
I mean, but that it is an empowerment in and of itself to take the word that was used to oppress you and say fuck you oppressor, I'm going to use this, I'm going to
And
purpose
not
it
allow you to use
was a
it.
better word. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It is sort of like a social understanding, and just to say what B pointed out earlier is that, of course, I think we all agree. We're not saying like can't say it. Of course, like physically you can say the word, physically you can, and socially you can be a piece of shit, but like socially it is like, yeah, that's ugly and you shouldn't say that. And I think that we
Yeah.
should societally like
And because of that,
yeah,
you can't
shame
say
that.
the
well,
word.
Well,
Practically.
okay.
well,
Here's the
shut
other
the
part of
shut
it.
this stuff up.
Okay, if we so here the problem is this is why I brought up other minorities can kind of say it. They kind of get a pass on the context sometimes, okay? Like if there was an Asian person or a Hispanic person using it in a derogatory way that's reminiscent of how white people used to use it, yeah, we check them. But if a fucking Hispanic person or an Asian person using it how black people use it, a lot of times we give them a pass. But then when it comes to a white person that uses it like a black person, whatnot, they don't immediately get that pass until we know other characteristics about them. Oh, they grew
Yeah,
up
can
with
I see
black
your
people, blah blah
resume real
blah.
quick?
So
Yup,
I think
real
the
quick.
problem that a lot of people have with saying, okay, well, since everyone can say it, we ban the word entirely. People do feel like it's kind of taking away from us again. Like you use this word derogatory against us, all right, and we fucking took offense to it. Now that all these other people who aren't part of that same group who used it derogatorily initially can't say it, now you want to take the word away from us. It's like, damn, you called us this, now we're saying it. Now you want to say we can't say it because you can't say it when initially it's because you said it. So like, why do you get to determine that we can't say the word when you were the ones who kind of threw the rock first? It's like you shouldn't be saying anything. You should just sit there, shut the fuck up, and just take it. I mean, I hate to say it like that. That's unfair to white people, but it's kind of like, hey, it was because you initially started using this against us first.
It's not that
Well, here's the
unfair.
thing. I've never understood the. And I know that I know Destiny's gotten, like memed on this before or whatever, right? Like it was like one of the first things, but it's like I've never been the type. I don't understand the type of like white person that is just chomping at the bit to say it. You know what I mean? It's like there's a million
Yeah.
words. It's like, why is it so goddamn hard?
It's like
I don't
it's like the thing with kids, okay? When you tell a kid they can't do something, immediately they want to go out and do it a lot of the
I
time.
guess, but like
That's what it
It's not
seems like.
hold on. It's not
Hey,
just that.
white
it's
people
also
don't.
That,
We're not used to being oppressed, man.
yeah, it's just
actually,
that for
yeah.
The
him.
only
he
oppression
probably-
white people face in the United States is like verbal or social oppression. Like to keep it real with you.
Well,
I
and
probably
that's
would.
what and
I don't-
socioeconomic.
what does that
well,
mean?
depends
Yes
on where
and
you are,
no,
but
right?
that's the thing too, right? Is that, like you said, that it is something that what we're talking about, that sort of like taboo or sort of like cultural kind of like stigma against a justified one. It only involves like, yes, white and black people, African Americans, and so like yeah, it makes sense that other people like or other cultures and ethnicities should not necessarily get the heat. It wouldn't make sense if they got admonished as well for using it, but
Okay.
not in a derogatory way. So like that
Let's
totally makes sense. And then on top of that, it makes sense that like there are
be.
edge cases and rare cases, and that's fine and understandable of white people that are like also socio or like have been like in certain like areas and socioeconomic areas, especially like and generations, but those are edge cases. It's not, I can't think of like one rich person born with a silver spoon in their mouth, privileged as fuck white dude that could get a pass for ever saying that word.
Yeah.
Like, like
Okay.
socially, that doesn't make sense.
So what I think it
Let's
comes
be
down
clear
to,
what we're talking about though. Like you're saying two different words. You're saying the N word with a hard R and the N word with an A at the end. Right?
no, we're talking about N word in
N-word?
general. Even
Wait,
if
do
a
y'all
white
know?
person says it with the A at the end or the ER, people don't want to see them saying it. And I think it has something to do with a lot of history. So traditionally, United States of America, okay, white people could actually oppress people via laws and whatnot. And I think minorities didn't have that power. So instead, now it's moved to social oppression. You're a white straight male, so we don't want to hear you say the N word. We don't want to hear you say anything homophobic. We don't want to hear you say anything that's against any other group that's not you, because you've
It
had
would
the
be nice
power.
not to hear that. Yeah, exactly.
But
Yeah.
it might not be against the group. Like you're saying the N word. Do you recognize that the N word with a hard R and the N word with an A is different? Are different
Yeah.
words?
I was gonna
They have
say,
different meanings.
They're
is there
clearly
any
different.
instance other than
Oh my
maybe in some
god.
academia
There-
where a hard R is okay? Is that passable
There's
in any
Okay.
school?
clearly
Okay.
yeah. For the
Yeah,
most
yeah.
part, like
So
Like the
even
hard
black
R
people.
technically ain't even a good with black people technically.
Yeah,
Like I
they're
know,
not
exactly.
even.
yeah.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I
I
don't know if
mean,
that's like
So we
okay.
are just talking about soft A.
so I'm saying, like, if you hear a white person say the N word with a hard R, you know that they mean something nefarious, right? But if
Well,
they
Yeah.
say with an
Almost
A,
always.
then
They can mean it
yeah.
nefarious with a soft A too, though.
They
You
I
just
could,
kind of
don't
but
know.
saying it with a southern twang, so.
you know.
I don't
Actually,
think
true, Bubby. True.
But you
Yeah, yeah.
can't.
somebody
But
with
you
a
can.
southern twang
It's
would
not
be.
gonna be like. You could also use the A for the most part to be like a term of endearment. You're rarely ever using the hard R
so
for like a
since
term of endearment.
This
Like
whole conversation has been about
won't
soft
right.
A,
be.
Okay,
right?
wait.
It won't be interpreted
Despite the fact,
as
we
a
don't even need to
term of
go into the
endearment.
semantics of the hard
Yeah.
R versus the A. I think it's because the originators of the oppression, using that word derogatorily, was mostly white. Because of that, people don't want to hear white people saying any version of it. However, it is kind of arbitrary depending on which black person and which white person. But it's just in general, people don't want to hear white people saying the N word at all, whether it's soft A or ER. No one wants to hear that from white people. They were the originators of that word being used derogatorily. And that is technically kind of unfair when Hispanic people can kind of say it and get a pass, or even sometimes Asian people who have white skin like white people, but sometimes they can say it depending on the way that they are, and we don't blink an eye. You know what I mean? But
I mean,
like, that's just how it fucking. That's how the cookie crumbles. Sorry.
I mean, I know how it is, but I'm just saying, like, I think anybody should be able to say whatever the fuck they want. Like,
Where are you
And
from? Yo, brother,
technically, you
yo,
like,
can.
brother, where you from
Technically,
again?
you
I mean, it's
can.
not illegal. Like,
no,
Yeah.
no, I mean,
No,
like,
but
I
we
don't
are
think it.
saying
It's
that
I
just
don't
like
think.
it's not
I
fair.
don't.
What? No, hold on.
No,
We
I'm
Yo,
were
just
where are you
saying
saying.
that
I
it
from?
don't think.
wasn't okay. Why would
I
like
don't think
why would you be comfortable with even white people saying the soft A?
Where are you
because I
from?
don't care. I grew up with a bunch of people saying it all around me. So when I heard a white person say it for the first time, I'm like, oh, it's just regular. It's normal. I
I
don't
don't
care.
think anyone
Oh
who
my
knows
God.
the
I'm
What
from
the
word, the N
Baltimore,
fuck?
word.
bro.
I'm
I'm
gonna
I'm
keep it
from
real
What
with you.
the
No, no,
fuck?
no, no. I kind of get what you're saying. You're like, okay, so I hear it so often, even when a white person says it, it doesn't. I don't bat an eye.
But yo,
The problem is that's not how his.
the
I
fuck?
don't know. That's not how the word has kind of worked historically. Everyone who's ever heard the
I
N
didn't
word
realize that
and they know it was
white people
used
couldn't say it.
derogatorily, they know it was used from white people to black people. Everybody fucking knows that.
okay, but I'm saying like if you grew up in a predominantly black neighborhood, you're hearing it mostly from black people when you before you even get to school and you learn about that shit. So you just hearing it all the time. It just it's it doesn't mean anything. It
The
just
Are your
means a
reason,
person
parents
that
right,
neighborhood.
right. But the
are your
reason you
parents from the
blink when
states?
a, go ahead.
Are your
Y'all,
parents from the states by any chance or no?
Who mine?
So
Yes.
education's stopping me from saying the N word.
Baltimore City, bro. Straight
Huh?
Baltimore City. Baltimore City. The whole way.
You from Baltimore City? That's where your parents are from?
Yeah.
Okay.
oh, they're
And
not
you,
immigrants or anything like that.
No.
oh,
So
okay.
you were
Okay.
born and raised. So your parents were born and raised in the U.S. and you were born and raised in the U.S.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you didn't. So what is your
So I'm trying to think
statement?
how you missed it. You know, how you missed
Yeah.
that epic, like
It's really
connection
about the history of it. Like, and they even teach you this shit in
in
school.
school. Like I don't know how you missed
Yeah.
this.
No, I'm saying, all right. So picture you don't hit like you're hearing the word your whole life, like the F slur. You're just hearing it. You learn nothing about it until you get to like high school or even middle school, right? That word meant nothing to you. So why
But
Not
why
really.
I
It meant
don't
a
know,
couple
man.
things.
huh?
I
Let's say,
think
but
for a lot of
fuck can
black
mean
people
two
in the
different
United
things.
States, and it's funny that you're saying this that you were born and raised in the U.S. You know from a fucking early age. I'm talking about elementary school that N
It
word
fucking
is
is.
used to refer to black people derogatorily. If you didn't learn that, then hey, congratulations,
So
you're one of the
you
very,
missed it.
very few. But like even white people, when you're elementary school age, will tell you that the N word is used
No,
derogatorily
Well,
against
I
you.
don't, I don't,
it's
I
funny.
don't know where y'all grew up. I mean, it
Imagine a
might be
white
a
person.
freaking
Imagine a
area
white person
problem,
walking
but
into a neighborhood saying the N word, being like, "Well, oh, I didn't realize I couldn't say it because
yeah, I never heard
Yeah,
that
and
shit.
so like
That
you,
is
yeah,
dude.
I'm not talking about white people. White people, they probably hear that from beginning because they don't want their children to get fucking beat up. I'm talking about black people.
Uh,
Like if you
what is the
walking down the
talk?
street,
Like,
if
what
you
is the
walking
talk?
down the street and you hear a bunch of black dudes saying the N word all over the place, like you walking on the corner store, like I was, and you just hearing the N word all over the place.
so
I
if
ain't see a white person until I got to fucking high school,
What?
so that shit didn't even fucking matter to me.
In Baltimore,
well,
you didn't
there's
see a white
probably no
person
reason
until
to
you got to high
explain
school.
it then. Yeah,
Yes,
there's
Baltimore
probably no
What?
City.
reason.
Yeah.
Bro,
I,
I'm sorry. When I was
Oh
in
shit.
when I grew up in Cornfield, Illinois, bro, by the time I was in like fourth grade or younger, I knew what the N word was.
Yeah.
dude, I fucking got into a fight over the N word in the 5th grade.
Saying I knew what the fuck it
I was
was.
10. I was 10 years
I
old, bro.
heard it, but I didn't know
Well,
like the context of it until I got to like middle
You
school.
mean what?
well,
What
That's
do you
you weren't
mean
crazy.
by that?
educated. Like
Damn,
you must
that
have
is
never.
What's
On
crazy.
the
the
You
record,
weren't
reason
wait, hold
behind
on.
that?
educated.
Wait, what
Hey,
comment?
okay.
every single black person in the VC is you know what I'm saying, giving you like a alternate experience, maybe like you in the minority.
So
He's in a
Iceman,
prison
you
cell.
you
might
hold
be
on,
like
because
a
what it
different group.
sounds. Correct me if I'm wrong, Iceman, but it sounds like that you were saying earlier. You understand if white people were taught about that word, but you growing up in a mostly black community, you weren't necessarily taught the context of that word. So like you didn't know it was a derogatory term. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I have not heard of any like if white people can learn at a very early age as a derogatory term, you don't think black people know that? Or
That's why I asked
Yeah,
where
maybe
you
it
he
gotta
just
very
came
wasn't
from.
I'm not
taught
Maybe
to
saying.
you.
that's
Let
why
me
I
let
asked where
me
his
let
answer
me.
from because the experience is so unique. I've just never heard anything like it. I'm not trying to call you a
That
liar.
actually kind of
It's
makes
just
sense a
super
little bit,
unique.
though, right? Like in the sense that white kids would. I mean, yeah, I learned that was a bad word. Don't say
No,
that. You know what I mean?
no,
Where
it doesn't.
black,
No, it
I
doesn't
could
make any
understand
sense
where
because
maybe
as a
more
black
so than
kid,
not that maybe black youth like may like if they don't if their parents don't like teach them like hey don't say that or
no,
what have you.
no,
If,
no, no,
Okay,
no,
if
no,
that's the
no.
case, why does most
Black kids have what's called the talk at a very young age, how to conduct
yes,
themselves in the streets and what to do if
oh, I got you. I
if you
got
come
you.
across
yes.
a black come across an officer, white or black, mainly white. We know how to act. We know what words will be used against us, and we know to remain calm, to show our hands, to not run, to not act fidgety.
I hear you. I
We're
hear you.
given
Talking
the
about
talk. I don't care where you're from. You know this because you could be in Baltimore. You're telling me
what
that
does that have
Baltimore is
to
full
do
of
with the
black
N-word?
cops. And how the hell
Yes,
could you
it
not
is.
Yeah,
see
bro.
a
My
white
white dad gave me that talk.
Baltimore
He
is
knew.
primarily black
It's
cops.
our
Yes.
Yeah.
white dad gave me the
Like,
talk.
dude, I remember
So
being in
simple.
elementary
Like he's
school.
either trolling or like
Well, no. To
We,
to
we bro,
Iceman's
bro,
okay,
bro.
so no,
Like
no, to
I'm
Iceman's
saying, like
point.
this is anecdotal. Like
Well,
I'm
yeah,
not saying
yeah,
it happens
okay.
everywhere.
So Iceman, to your point, I remember having a white teacher in elementary school. I think this was first grade, and
yep.
yeah, in my area and shit, with most black people, we did use the word, and there wasn't like a consequence or any type of context attached to it. But like even in first grade, you will have a white fucking teacher, if you have one, that will say, "Hey, you shouldn't use that word. That's a curse." They treat it like it's a curse word, and you get in trouble for saying it,
Yes.
even
Yeah.
if you are black.
Yep. Facts.
They're like, "You shouldn't be
Interesting.
saying that."
Facts.
Yeah, you learn
Or
right away.
You
not that
you
that's
hear that's
interesting
a
or weird, but yeah, that's
yeah,
anyway. Sorry. I'll shut up. I'll
you
shut up.
hear
So it's
you
so
hear
clear to me
that's
that
a
you missed
bad
it.
word, just like bitch is a
So
bad word, but you don't hear like
That's
the
a wonderful
context
word.
behind it.
I mean, I keep it. Mm,
Yeah, because you don't know why it's a
I
bad
remember
word.
when I was a kid,
Actually,
Yeah,
and hearing that it was
I'm
a
exactly.
bad
interested in
word.
that. May I
I
ask
remember
every
when I first
person in
had a
the room
dictionary,
like
I
what
looked it up.
their when did y'all learn that or if it's okay if I could ask like that? Yeah, the black people in the room. Like when did y'all learn that that was a bad word?
When
so
you were
my
told it.
dad,
Or not a
my
bad
Like
word? No, I'm sorry,
my
not a bad word.
dad,
But when did you learn the
my dad,
context?
my dad originally told me it was a bad word and he didn't like it, and I was like, okay, everybody
You
else is still
understand it,
saying
why?
it, so
Yeah.
how bad it is. And then I got in trouble at school, and then my dad is like, see, I don't like that word. You shouldn't be saying it, blah blah blah, because white teacher came down on me for saying the N word, and now I'm going home where the N words are supposedly accepted by black folks, but my dad is like whooping my ass for saying it. It's like
I mean, what happened
it's
for me
crazy.
is I was on the
The
internet and
first time I
and
remember
oh,
like
sorry,
ever
go ahead.
saying it was September 11,
Oh my
2001,
god. Oh my
because everyone
god,
else had an
man.
early dismissal, and
You said
I
September
was
11th,
and I exclaimed
2001.
like,
Please just stop, Ben. You
"Why
said
does everybody else
9/11.
get an early dismissal but me?"
Oh, can
And
we? Fuck.
teacher got
I'm just
upset.
saying, like
I had to
all
walk
that shit
home. I mean,
didn't.
it was what it was. But
Oh
All
God.
All
right,
that
so
shit
let's
didn't
not
I
feed
wish
like
the
all that
troll.
things
shit
would be
didn't
done to
matter
you in the
to
video games.
what? They hold on. I just
Really?
answered the question. He asked me.
I
I
hope you
don't
have a
get
bad
it.
day.
I
all that
I
shit
wish
didn't
you were
matter
in
to
New
my
York.
mom or nothing.
That's
Like
Wait, is he
I
dissing
mean,
me? I
for
don't get
me, what
it.
happened was when I was like probably like 6 years old, I was on a computer and I was singing. You know that song from Scribblenauts where the dude was like, or it's not from. It was like this video, and it was Scribblenauts, and the dude was singing the N word stole my bike, like that song, and
Who
I
the
sang
fuck
along.
plays Scribble Knots?
Me
Well,
inwards.
I
and
mean,
my
I get
dad
that,
said
but
don't say that. So
oh, okay. Sorry, you did answer the question.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like my mom
Wait,
didn't
Scribble
care
Notes
about
was
that. She
great.
ain't care about none of that social shit. She didn't tell me. I never had the talk that everybody talks about with police and shit like that. I didn't give a fuck. N word was just
Were your
I'm
fucking
gonna
parents
be.
like?
another word.
Were your parents
It
like,
was
nigga?
like
That's
it was like the
irresponsible of a
N
black
word.
mother not to talk to her black son about that shit. That's irresponsible as fuck.
I don't think so, but N-word meant dudes or men, and bitch meant women. That's all it was when I grew up.
Every
This sounds like
parent
an
in
amazing
America should
neighborhood you
have
grew
that
up in.
talk with cops. Like that's 100%.
Hey, bro, I'm gonna keep it
Every
honest with you.
parent.
Okay, so here's the thing. How bad is it if everyone in that community fucking understands the context? And if you call a woman bitch, she understood. You're not calling her a bitch in a derogatory term. You're calling her that in reference to female. Although we can say, yeah, hey, it's been used derogatorily. Like if that's the understanding in that community, that's one thing. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, that is morally neutral. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
like
what I'm saying is it actually would be kind of confusing if like that's how you grew up, but that's like literally, yeah, like the whole community kind of did that, and then you moved somewhere else or whatever. They're like, don't you know the entire world? That's a bad word, and this is the like historical context why that you were never told. Blah blah blah. Yeah, I would be very confused too as well. Yes.
I
I don't
mean,
know
Like,
where he
bro.
grew up in
I'm
Baltimore,
just
but
I
I'm
mean,
gonna
if you
I'm gonna
grew
go
up with
ahead.
the
This
internet, I
story.
don't think it's likely that you don't know what it
Well,
means.
no.
that's
I
that's
grew up.
also why I
True,
keep
true.
saying we need to stop caring about the word itself and matter more about the context and how it's used. Like
It's just
there,
hard.
it
It's
just
hard to
makes
police
it
context.
makes no sense to care about a certain fucking phonetical sound that comes out of somebody's mouth.
Yeah.
It
I agree
cares
with
more
that.
about how they're using it.
I
And
mean,
that's the
because
thing is, I think that words like well, okay, so who was you were saying right that your dad like does not like that word, right?
Yeah, because he's like the
Like
way
that's
it was used, blah blah blah. You know.
so that's exactly right. That's what I mean. It's like I would love to be like a free speech um um well
absolutist.
thank you, absolutist. Yeah. And I'm pretty close. But that's the thing is like I wonder if I could relate to your dad. I don't know like their story or whatever, but that's how I feel whenever I hear other LGBT people
Wow,
using
is
that
this like a white
slur.
joke?
Okay. So when I think of my
Yep.
dad, I think of
What?
something kind of like
No.
nurse. No offense, the nurse, but nurse, we did acknowledge the context matters, but there were some situations where it didn't matter the context. It was just, it sounded weird coming from somebody who wasn't part of the group. That's where I think differently. Like, I can always look at the context of whatever the fucking word is said. I'm not going to get triggered because a white person said the N word. But if they're trying to be like disingenuous or if they're trying to be insulting or racist or some shit like that,
Right.
you can pick up on those things if you have regular social skills. And when I say
Right.
regular, I mean what average people tend to have. You don't have to be no
Average.
fucking like
Yep.
understand people to a super deeper level. It's just more like, oh, I can tell the way you said that you meant some bad things because of the words that were leading up to your usage of said word.
Your
Man,
demeanor,
I mean,
the
honestly,
way
I've
you said
seen.
it. Yep.
I mean, honestly, and it doesn't even have to be like a racial derogatory thing. I have black friends who check other black people when they call them like soft A. Like, bitch, I don't know
Yeah.
you. Like,
Yeah,
you're not from my
like
set. Don't say that shit to me.
right,
Yep.
like
Like, I
when I
don't know
was
you.
saying, as a
I'm like,
black person, you can see somebody do some black shit or something that's stereotypically black, and you can be like, "Oh, I hate N words." You're using it as a derogatory way to refer to black people.
Yeah.
And that's
That's the
why I
thing
don't
is
like
like
when
it,
people say we made it as a term and as an endearment. I'm like, no, the fuck we didn't.
No, you did, because there is a use for it in endearment.
you
But the
made it
problem is,
more so.
just because you can use it as a term of endearment doesn't mean you can't use it derogatorily.
I
Yeah, I
think it'd
mean,
be
you
well,
more
can.
no, but
accurate to
nobody
say
said that. But I agree with you in the sense that it is not a group that is a monolith. So there, just like there is, I'm sure, in the black community, people that are like the fuck, or at least even if they don't say
I mean,
anything,
if they're in
maybe
the
like
older generation,
wince it,
typically.
maybe hear like hear it and like wince, like oh fucking A. Like same way that I would when I would hear like people in the LGBT community use the F slur, I'd be like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like stop, what are you
When
doing?
I
Like, why
hear
are you?
the
Look,
N
That's a
look.
word,
weird
Wait,
term of
can you say that
endearment.
with the hard T or a soft? Like, I'm not sure if there's
I'm
a
sorry, can we
distinction.
not? Like,
when when I hear a
Look.
we
white
already
person
got over
say
the hard
the
R
N
part.
word, I'm just like, yo, good shit, because you ain't scared to say it. Thank you.
Cause I'm
That's
gonna
the
keep
only
it
thing
real.
I'm saying.
This is just my ideology. I believe because you can't control what someone says. Sure, you can punish people and whatnot, but they can always say whatever they want. They have the power and the ability to do that, and there's nothing you can do about it. We shouldn't be
no,
getting
I don't
so
believe
upset
that's
about
true.
words.
I don't think
Yeah, they
that's true.
do. I mean, yeah. What are you gonna do? Gag them? Slit their fucking throat? Cut their tongue out or some shit?
Nope.
Like
Yeah.
we're
We
not
just
really.
no. We just shame them. We Don't
Give
hang
him
Well,
a
it up.
okay,
Colombian
that's
Leave your
necktie.
well,
shit
no,
on
no,
empty.
that's
Like,
what I'm
don't be
trying to
saying
say.
that.
The point that I'm
Yeah.
trying to say is that they can still say it. They have the power and the ability
Yeah.
to do it. So because of that, and that's something that you can't change unless you literally fucking gag them or torture them.
And
Even if you shame them, that's something different than what I'm talking about. Okay. So even if you shame them, like you can't protect them from the social consequences, but like the shit where like the physical consequences or the legal consequences, yeah, they kind of are protected, unless it's hate speech or
Oh,
some
and they
okay,
shit.
I'm
should be.
talking
I
about the
don't
social
know. Even hate speech
consequences.
is actually. How do y'all feel about that? Do y'all think that hate speech should be
So
legally
here's the thing,
penalized like they
hate.
do in
Probably
Germany?
No,
shit.
So
probably
hate
be
speech
legal.
is
I guess not
only
even legally,
analyzed.
right?
So
Yeah.
okay, hate speech is really only analyzed when there's something that happens from it. If you say, "Hey, I want to kill all black people," and you never do anything, then it's kind of like, all right, he just said he wants to kill all black people. But
Right.
if
It
you
would
say,
only
"I
be
want to," yeah,
enforced generally if there's like
right.
a
So if you
crime
say I want
coupled
to
with.
kill all black people and kill black people, you know what's going to happen. That's a hate crime. Like, come on. Like, what are we supposed to do? We think that you were lying that you wanted to kill all black people and then went out and killed a bunch of black people? Like, we're supposed to assume you were lying about that?
Yo, you know
Like,
what?
'cause it,
When you bring in illegality, it's interesting because let's just think of like a corporate standing. Like you look at companies like Facebook or companies like Instagram, right? They actually do allow people to use the N word, but they do what's the word I'm looking for? They audit. They literally audit who's able to use it and who's not, essentially. So
TikTok does it as well. Yeah.
yeah, so it's really interesting when we say who can do it. Like YouTube as well. Like I'm sure that like Mike Will made it or whoever can like say the N word during one of the streams, but if Destiny said it, he would probably get banned or at least temporarily banned for like a little while. I don't know. So you actually see corporations try to uphold some of these
Well,
values and some of these
Yeah, and that
ideas.
shit's corny.
you're
Dude,
not wrong
could you
about that at
imagine
all. But
being the
like at the
fucking
same time,
N-word arbiter as like a paid position?
That's what we made. Yeah.
I'm sure
But that's the thing is, do we want to have a conversation about
Cornell
like
West.
the ought claim or the enforcement claim, because those are kind of two different things.
Yeah. Exactly.
Also, what are we defining hate speech as?
Well,
Like,
that's
as in
that's
explicitly
what I was gonna
saying that
say.
we're going to kill these people, or just saying like, man, I
That
hate these people. They're so
that's
X.
that's
A
I mean,
protected class,
instead of
maybe.
looking at what we're defining hate speech by, why don't we look at the actual legal definition of what hate speech is?
Well, I pulled
But
it
Cal,
up and it's
companies don't
vague
do
as
it. What
fuck.
you're
It's
saying.
Yeah, that's
abusive or threatening speech, or written that expresses prejudice on the basis of ethnicity, religion, sexual orientation, or similar groups. So that's
yeah.
super vague. That could
The
mean anything.
So
problem.
here's my real quick take
Okay.
in one sentence. I'll just say it just real quick. I think that all speech, both like verbally and then through art or whatever, right, should probably not be criminalized because I believe in liberty. I do think that
I
as
don't
far
know.
as hold on, I do think the laws that we have on the books, as far as harassment, as far as libel, slander, these things, I agree with. Because they lead up to that point, and then what is it where you rile up a crowd kind of thing, bring danger,
Like incitement.
Oh, here's the
incitement. Thank
problem.
you. Yeah, incitement, and then lastly, lastly, and then nope, fucking. Okay, come back.
No, I mean, Oberon, I do kind of agree with you. Like, people should be able to say whatever the fuck they want to until something happens. But the problem is, we truly try to prevent some of these things. So, depending on like how much influence somebody has, if they are engaging in hate speech, like I could see a scenario where they are charged with just the words that they say, even if
Oh,
something doesn't happen, depending on their amount of
thank you.
influence.
I'm glad you said that because that is the last part that I forgot or couldn't remember, and that's coupled with it is that I think that it is okay that a crime committed, like a violent crime or what have you, can be elevated to sentencing wise, post fact or post conviction, elevated to the speech that they use. Basically, if someone gets beat up or assaulted, right, that they are convicted of that crime, they should serve the sentence. If someone is assaulted and at the same time there is a history, same like Ahmaud Arbery, right, like or murdered, right, like Ahmaud Arbery, I think it should be trumped up after that. Absolutely, is trumped up the wrong word? But like beefed up. Absolutely, I think that's okay. That afterwards that it should be their sentence should be increased if it's included that it was a hate crime hate speech was involved during it as well, but not hate speech alone. I don't think should be criminalized.
Why should that be bumped up? I killed you,
So
but
that
I
we as
killed
a
you because
society
I
can
hate
virtue
you
signal
for
to
your race.
stop doing that thing.
That's
Because we
stupid.
agree,
Like, so
even if we
I killed somebody because I hate them for wearing a wrong type of shoe or wrong color. How about that? And then
That is not
I
a
killed somebody
protected class.
because
Yeah, exactly.
why does that matter? The person is still
Because that's
dead.
legally how we define whether something's a hate crime or not.
I'm not talking about what's legal now. I just said why.
So we're
do you
talking
do
about
that?
things
Why
like that
does
are
that matter?
immutable characteristics, okay? So like if someone's black, white, Asian, whatever, if someone's like whatever their sexuality is, whatever gender they identify with, like we consider the things that people can't really change for themselves as hate speech. You can't just go kill somebody because of the way that they are necessarily.
What about height? Let's
I
say
mean,
we're looking at
in
short
some
people.
situations we can actually. Like if someone's fucking like completely psychopathic and they're just out here fucking murdering somebody, if there's a state that they're convicted in and they got the death penalty, yeah, we'd probably say, hey, kill them, you know. But
Or if we
And I want to be clear
encounter
about my
enough
answer is that it
people,
is a
yeah.
pure virtue signal. It is.
Yeah, I
Federally, this
agree
is
with
already
that.
the law, and I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I want to virtue signal that, hey, we all agree murdering's bad. If you murder somebody and like it is proven without a doubt that you did it because they're black or like because they're a protected class, then fuck you even more. And I'm okay with
No,
society saying
I think that I don't think it has anything to do with the virtue signal. I think it has to do with the fact that from a practical standpoint, there's a greater potential for a societal harm or some type of destructive consequence if a person, this might sound a little contradictory, but indiscriminately discriminates against a particular group or whatever, versus just like an individual. If you rob somebody because they have money and you're broke, right? We can say that's isolated like a specific incident, a crime of opportunity, right? But if you don't like black people, for instance, then it doesn't matter where the other person is adjacent to you. That's a whole level of like premeditation and like conspiracy and like all these other things that make society in general less safe if we just allow people to walk around like that without some kind of punishment. So I don't think it's a virtue signal.
well, I'm only commenting on the elevation of their sentencing is a virtue signal. But yes, absolutely, I agree with what you say.
I just think if a person's dead, they're dead. If a person's robbed, they're robbed. It doesn't fucking matter what else they did on top of
Okay,
it.
well, you're
If I
wrong.
say I robbed you because, I mean, it's not me being
That's not
wrong.
really a
my
wrong or right
opinion.
statement. That's
Yeah.
That's not how hate
I
crimes
mean,
work.
that's your
Hate
opinion.
crime laws work in a very specific manner. You must be targeted due to your immutable characteristic. Like people are only robbing the Muslim-owned convenience stores or bodegas, where they are only assaulting Asian people as they walk down the street. That is the way in which it would.
That is what I'm saying.
it just
That
makes
is exactly
society
right.
less
That's
safe
what I'm saying is
overall.
that
Like,
it is the elevation of the sentencing, like literally is like philosophically, it literally is only, and I'm okay with this. I think it's justified. It is only a virtue signal because, like, yeah, objectively, if I was an alien, like in a spaceship outside of planet Earth, and I watched, I'd be like, I don't get why that person is sure. Like you wouldn't understand,
well,
right?
it has
Like,
to do with
like
mens rea. It has to do with the
it's
whole
literally
concept of
saying,
why
like,
a
no,
person
we
committed
do
the
not.
crime.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
Oberon, I do
I'm saying,
agree with you and Ben both that like partly it is kind of a virtual signal, but like what Ben is saying is like if you could kill someone because they were black, if you could kill someone because they were gay, things or whatever the fuck they can't change about themselves, it is setting kind of a precedent that like, hey, it's
Yeah,
okay to
nobody's
kill
safe.
black people and shit like that. But from your point, it is kind of like a virtual signal, as in saying society saying, "Hey, it's not okay, and we don't agree that you can kill
we
black
ain't
people
doing
or gay
this
people
exactly.
because of that."
I
Yeah,
don't
so
think we
it's
disagree.
both.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
do
still
we
wrong to
char-
kill someone regardless.
Yeah, that's
All
what I'm
right,
saying.
I guess
But
okay.
do we
Yeah, the
charge
killing
people
is
The
as
entire
double,
thing
right?
just stems from mens rea because just killing someone, like, there's different penalties depending on how or why.
Yeah.
do we charge extra for? And I don't know this, but like within a man or a woman, like people who only target men or women.
No,
No,
at least,
not usually.
yeah.
Well, you mean as far as the letter of the law is concerned, or you mean in practice?
Yeah, I'm like the law concern.
I don't know of any law that does that.
Because I don't
I
think
know
you
law.
can
I know
really
laws
There's
for
say.
no law in the book
minors,
that
like if
says
you
if you
kill a
kill a
minor or
woman, you
something
get
versus
10
a
extra
person.
years or something.
I think there
Yeah, so
could be
that's
an
an
a
immutable
crime elevated,
characteristic.
a sentencing elevated because it was like after conviction of that sentencing, like could be elevated to the level of a federal hate crime and hate violence, the same way that Ahmaud Arbery's murderers were, after conviction, tacking on because they specifically hated women and sought them out. Like I wonder if Elliot Rodgers, maybe if he was actually not like murdered, like or shot, killed,
I
justifiably
will
so.
say
But like
something.
if he would
I
have
will say
been charged with a hate crime for hating women or something, that'd be interesting.
I will say something interesting in the Ahmaud Arbery case, just briefly. I like what the prosecutor did when they were right before they went to like the sentencing, where they put in a motion to the judge where it's like, if they ever try to like make a documentary or like write a book or anything, them and their family don't get any of the proceeds of that. It goes straight to the Ahmaud Arbery
Oh yeah,
family. And I was
the
like,
son of
okay.
Sam. It's the son of Sam clause, right? Is that the same thing? Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
didn't
where they
even know
can't
that
make
they
money.
could legally do that. I was like, oh, damn.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. They could, yeah. The prosecutors, they can order all proceeds from any media involving them or what have you go to the victims' families. Yeah, absolutely,
They do that with serial killers too.
absolutely. It literally is called the son of Sam clause. He was so popular.
God, I'm hearing that
I
shit.
kind of hope the Samuel Woodward, the murderer of Blaze Bernstein, is that court case is starting, and I really hope that motherfucker goes away for life for a hate.